Hello everyone, welcome to today's class of Certified Ethical Hacking. I hope everyone is able to hear me and able to see the screen. Good evening everyone. Okay, so what was the last topic which we covered on in the last class? Anyone? Yes, about tools we discussed, but what else? Like last topic which we discussed, the last module which we discussed. Is the important terms topic covered? Anyone? The important terms topic? Okay. And system hacking theory? Okay. So I hope we completed our this thing, the practical of enumeration scanning, I guess. The practical in Kali Linux of WP scan, HPing 3, and the others. I think I told you all that first we'll start the system hacking, then we will have the this thing. So today we will be going with the system hacking, this module. So system hacking theoretical part we will cover. I hope I have discussed about the practical part of the Nmap, correct? The Nmap practical. Okay, so no practicals completed. Okay. So it means that the practical of enumeration, scanning, and footprinting is pending. We will discuss about tools later, not right now. The tools, just download it from the drive. Okay. It will be only downloadable in laptop or desktop, not in mobile. So download the tools in laptop or desktop. The tools are not meant for mobile and it cannot be downloaded through Google Drive in mobile, as it's not downloadable. Okay, so I will be asking in the live chat, if a single person was able to also download it, then it means it is able to download. You are having some issues from your side. So in the live chat, quickly let me know those who have downloaded it by writing yes. Okay, so we all can see a lot of users already downloaded it, which means that users are able to download it. By spamming no doesn't mean anything if you are having some issues from your side. Do not extract it right now. I will let you know how to extract that. Do not purchase the WinRAR. WinRAR is free to use. Do not let us not discuss about tools right now. Let us first start with the module of this thing, the system hacking theoretical part. No, tomorrow is a holiday, as Republic Day. I think vulnerability analysis is finished. If anyone, vulnerability analysis model number 5, sorry. Yes, so this is the model 6 system hacking. Okay. Vulnerability analysis is not finished. Okay, sorry. So that's why I think the practical was not there, because in this module we will be combining all these three, and then we will be having the practicals in the next class. So uh, let us start with the vulnerability analysis model. So first of all, let me know. Let know everyone that this is the last topic where we will be stopping our this thing information gathering phase. Okay, so vulnerability analysis is the last topic where we will be stopping our information gathering phase, and after this module, the practical is there. Okay, I was forward that the fifth module is not completed yet. That's why I was wondering why the practical is not completed, because we need to cover this one, and then a session will be there where we will be using nmap in footprinting and scanning, hping 2 hping 3 for scanning, wp scan for enumeration. Okay, these three tools we will be doing a practical. So nmap, there is a version for Windows known as Zenmap. Zenmap we will be downloading, and then we will be doing the practical over Zenmap. Then nmap for Kali Linux we will be doing in the Kali Linux terminal. And then hping 2 hping 3 is used for scanning purposes and doing DOS attacks. Then hping 2 hping 3 we will be using in Kali Linux. And then wp scan, known for WordPress scanning. I hope everyone knows about WordPress. Everyone, WordPress. Yes. So WordPress is an open source application which is used for building websites, blogs, or e-commerce websites. Okay. So WP Scan, WordPress Scan is a tool inbuilt in Kali, using which we can enumerate WordPress websites, WordPress usernames, WordPress password. That we will be seeing. First, let us finish this vulnerability analysis. In vulnerability analysis, it's a small topic of only 55 pages. And last topic where we will be finishing our information gathering. Now, from the sixth module, system hacking, the implementation of all we have learned in information gathering, we will be implementing all those things. Okay, so let us start this. So, what is vulnerability? As we all know, vulnerability means kind of weakness or a loophole in a application. Application could be a website, a software, a mobile app, a server, or a network. Okay, so vulnerability analysis, which means analyzing a vulnerability, is very, very important. Why that so? Well, suppose if you are able to find out a vulnerability, you need to analyze that in order to find out what type of things the vulnerability can do, what are the risk of the what are the risk from the particular vulnerability, how much damage it can do to the particular application, the vulnerability. Okay, so analyzing is very, very important. After analyzing only, we will be able to find out that how to fix the bug, or how to fix the vulnerability, or how to patch the vulnerability. And from the attacker's view, after analyzing the vulnerability, we can only proceed to exploit. That's why analysis is very, very important. Analyzing everything is very, very important. Not only the vulnerability, everything analyze is important. Now, in this module, we will learn about this thing, vulnerability research. Okay. Now, vulnerability research, vulnerability assessment, life cycle, and the different approaches of vulnerability assessment solutions, types of vulnerability assessment tools, scoring system, and assessment tools. These things we will be seeing. Starting from market research. Now, sorry, vulnerability research. Now, what is vulnerability research? Well, let me tell you first of all, everyone, that vulnerability is a thing which is being uh, updated every day. In today's market, a lot of versions of softwares are there, which means that every time there is a bug, on daily basis, thousands of websites are going live, thousands of services are going live. In fact, the previous uh, organizations also face different kinds of weaknesses, bugs, or loopholes. Now, research is important because suppose if we are going to study a type of vulnerability today, it doesn't mean that tomorrow it will be there. It may update, it may patch, or maybe tomorrow there is a different kind of vulnerability available in the market. So doing the vulnerability research is very very important. What type of design flaws are in the market, what is the exploit range of the vulnerability, what is the severity level of the vulnerability, is it low, medium, or high? Maybe today which is low, tomorrow it may go to high, it may go to medium, maybe today's severity level high may go tomorrow as a low or medium. Like that it kept changing. Doing research is very very important. Now in the research, what do I mean is to get to know about different security trends going in the market, different threats in the market, different type of attacks happening in the market, getting the information of all these things, getting the information of weaknesses and how to recover. These four things comes under the vulnerability research. So how to do research? What are the platforms where you can find all these information? So I will let you know after a few pages. First of all, vulnerability is classified into nine different categories. Okay, if you are able to find out a vulnerability in future, you need to classify it into a separate category. So, what are the categories? Generally, nine categories are defined. Starting from the first one, it's misconfiguration. Any vulnerability happening because of some misconfiguration or missettings or not configuring anything correctly comes under misconfiguration classification. Second is default installation. So as you all know, whenever you install something for the very first time, whether it's a hardware or a software, it goes with a default installation. Everyone knows about this with default installation. If I'm installing a software in Windows, I know that it will be installing in C drive. Well, we also have an option to change the installation drive, but it automatically goes to C drive because it is a default path. Now, vulnerabilities or issues happening because of default installations comes under this category. Third one is buffer overflow. Now, what is buffer overflow? Well, I think many of you must have used printers. In printers, whenever you give some command from your mobile phone, desktop, or laptop, suppose you are trying to print 10 pages or 10 different documents, you will give the command to print at only single time. Now the printer knows which page to print first, which page to print last, or which file to print first. So suppose if you are giving the command to print 100 docs, it may take whole day, but printer will kept printing everything because it remembers what are the pages I need to print, what are the documents I need to print. Now the memory of that particular storage known as buffer overflow. Sorry, buffer memory. Now, buffer overflow means that if you try to overflow that memory, suppose if your RAM is only 2 GB and you are trying to run different software such as Android Studio, VMware, that, this, what will happen? The laptop will hang because the memory is overflowing. Like that, if you uh, overflow the buffer memory, it will also keep, uh, it's also may uh, have some issues. Okay. Fourth one is unpatched server. Unpatched server means that if an attacker is able to find out a vulnerability in a server, now the administrator and the developer knows about the vulnerability and still didn't fix that. Try to understand here. Unpatched server means there is a server, a vulnerability is found out in the server. The admin also knows about the vulnerability or the bug. The whole team, the whole organization knows about the bug or the this thing vulnerability. Still, they didn't patch the servers. In that case, what will happen? It comes under the unpatched category, and attacker may hack the server. What will happen? It comes under unpatched server. Fifth is design flaws. Issues happening because of design flaws comes under this classification. Operating system flaws. Vulnerabilities because of OS comes under this category. Issues happening because of application level flaws comes under this category. Vulnerabilities happening because of some open services. Okay, suppose in network there are 100 open services, and we don't even need 90 services from that. So what is the meaning of opening those 90 services or those 90 ports? Doesn't mean anything. So vulnerability is happening because of open services which is not in need, comes under this classification. And the last ninth point is default passwords, which means whenever you install something for the first time, it comes with a default password. Suppose you are trying to install a Wi-Fi or a broadband in your home, and you are getting a router. The router will be having a default password. You need to change that after installation. So many of the people do not change the password. It gets default. So which means uh, vulnerability is happening because of default passwords comes under this category. These are the 9 classifications which you need to remember. In future, you may need to know about these things. Okay. Now proceeding further, life cycle, the very important topic here. As everything is having a life cycle, which starts from the beginning, from the basics, and covers the whole life cycle and comes to the end. Like that same thing is happening here in the vulnerability management life cycle. To manage a vulnerability, we need to follow a life cycle, which starts from creating a baseline. Creating a baseline is also known as pre-phase vulnerability management. Pre-phase vulnerability, okay? Pre-phase vulnerability. Creating a baseline. In this, we study about the organization where we are able to find out the vulnerability, like what type of policies they are having, what type of terms and conditions they are having, what is their business plan, how they are working, how is their network infrastructure, how are their servers. So these things comes under creating a baseline. Okay, what type of vulnerabilities we need to find out comes under creating a baseline, which means pre vulnerability assessment phase. Then comes vulnerability assessment phase. In this, we assess the vulnerability which we are able to find out. Okay, then comes post assessment phase. So this point comes under post assessment phase. This point known as vulnerability assessment phase, and this point known as pre vulnerability assessment phase. First phase, second phase, third phase. In third phase, all these 4 points come. Post vulnerability assessment phase. In this, the first one is risk assessment, which means if you are able to find out the vulnerability, what are the risks behind that particular vulnerability? How much of damage it may give to the server? What are the things which we may lose or lose? Is there something about money, something about resources and all these things comes under risk assessment. Here we try to find out what are the damages the vulnerability may give to the organization. Then comes the second point, remediation. Remediation means after finding out the risk of the vulnerability, how to reduce the risk factor. If the severity level is high, how to bring it to low. So we need to try those things also. So that comes under remediation. Then comes verification. After solving everything and finding out everything, after creating the report, we need to verify whether if we did everything right or not, whether we missed something or not. So that comes under verification. And the last one is monitor. After doing all these things, we need to monitor the whole server in order to look if there is an issue or not. This is the vulnerability management life cycle which you need to know. Maybe if you opt for some kind of exam in the future, like cybersecurity exams and all, these questions generally get asked. Or if you are trying to get a job in some industry, suppose some company or organization, these are the most important things a company may ask. They will not ask you to do the practical. Suppose if you go to an interview, you will not be getting questions like, okay, hack this, hack that. No, they will be asking you all about these theoretical things, because this is the main concept. Okay, these things you need to know. So as I told you, creating a baseline comes under pre-assessment phase, which includes identifying the business process, finding out the policies, mapping the network infrastructure, and looking for the scope of the assessment. So all these things comes under creating a baseline. Okay, then comes the vulnerability assessment phase, where we try to find out what are the physical securities, what are the this thing, different kinds of securities, check for some misconfiguration, running vulnerability scanning tools. Okay, identifying and prioritizing the vulnerabilities based on the risk level, like that. Then comes post assessment phase, in which risk assessment, remediation, verification, and monitoring comes. This is the whole vulnerability management life cycle. Now let us discuss about vulnerability assessment solution. Now, there are two types of solutions of assessing a vulnerability. One is product based, other is service based. Now, from the name, I think the definition is already derived. Product based solution means giving a solution with the help of some product, some hardware, which can be installed in organization's internal network. Maybe a machine which can be installed in the internal networks of the organization, which will be having the features to assess the vulnerabilities if there is so. Other one is service based assessment. Now in service based solution, sorry, not assessment, solution, service based solution means giving a solution to a company or organization for the assessing the vulnerabilities with the help of softwares. Okay, so employees are assigned to those companies uh, for finding out vulnerabilities and assessing that. So there are two kinds of solutions: product based and service based. All these things which we are studying here, all these things are theoretical. Now let us proceed further. Now suppose there are a lot of solutions in the market for assessing a vulnerability. Now what makes you think what type of solution is good, what type of solution is bad, depending on the scenario or the case. So these are the few characteristics using which you can find out a good vulnerability assessment solution. Okay, few points are here, such as ensure that the correct outcome comes. Now why this is important, why the correct outcome is important? Because whenever you try to assess a vulnerability, you need to run different kind of solutions or softwares. In order to do that, it may consume network resources. Now if it is consuming network resources, it may be costing a lot of money to the company because it is consuming network resources. In that case, you need to use a proper solution which must not damage the network resource or must not consume that much of resource and must not cost that much of high amount. First characteristic of a good vulnerability assessment solution. Okay, a lot of points are there. Okay, so few things you need to remember is it must give correct outcome, it must support various networks. Suppose if you are trying to select a vulnerability solution for the current scene or current usage, you are neglecting that in the future. Maybe you need to use different. Maybe you need to do these implement this solution in different environment. So the solution must be familiar with the different networks. So supports various networks. The solution must suggest proper remedies or proper workarounds to correct the vulnerabilities. Okay, and must let us know about the outside view of attacker, what the attacker was trying to do, what was the objective of the attacker. So these are the few points using which you can find out a good vulnerability assessment solution. Now solution is a different thing. Let us talk about tools. After solution, tools comes. Now how to select a good tool? Well, we gave you a software bundle having 4 GB of tools. in that zip folder. Now, for single things, hundreds of software are there. How to choose a good software? Well, I cannot explain you about each and every topic. Right now, here we are discussing about vulnerability analysis. Now, how to choose a vulnerability assessment tool? These are some characteristics. There are 30,000 different vulnerabilities available in the market. So it must be capable of testing all those 30,000 vulnerabilities. Okay. Now, in the market, attack signature is there. Attack signature means identity of someone to verify something. To write down a check into bank, you need to identify yourself by signing in on it. Like that, each and every attack has its own signature. Using the signature, we can find out who is the attacker or who is the hacker. Now, the software or the tool must be able to identify different attack signature. Second thing, third point, match your environment and expertise. This one is the third point. Have accurate network, have number of regularly updated vulnerability scripts available in the market. It may also generate reports and check for different level of penetration to prove to prevent lookups. Okay, these are some good characteristics of a good vulnerability assessment tool. Based on this, we can select. Proceeding further, some points which you need to go through the module. Vulnerability scoring system. Well, as we are talking about vulnerabilities here, there's a thing called as scoring system. CVSS, Common Vulnerability Scoring System. There are two versions of CVSS, 2.0, 3.0. Whenever there is a vulnerability, we try to rank it so that a proper communication is there with different uh, this thing attackers or ethical hackers, that whenever we try to find out a vulnerability, we need to rank those vulnerabilities based on their severity level. Okay, so two versions are there, 2.0 and 3.0. If we talk about 3.0, then severity level none has have a base score range of 0. 0 means uh, the severity level is none. 0.1 to 3.9 means low, 4.0 to 6.9 means medium, 7.0 to 8.9 means high, and 9.0 to 10.0 means critical. This is the 3.0 rating system. Earlier it was 2.0, which means 0.0 to 3.9 is low, 4.0 to 6.9 is medium, 7.0 to 10 is high. Now, whenever someone says it is having a score of 7, we need to understand it is high. Whenever someone says it is having a score of 4 based on CVSS 2, you need to understand it is medium. And if someone is saying it is having a score of 9 based on CVSS 3, you need to understand it is critical. I hope it's clear. The vulnerability scoring system available in the current market. Now, as we discussed, different types of researches you may need to do. Okay, these are the websites where you need to visit and look for the different vulnerabilities available in the market. So I would recommend you exploit -db, this website. Okay, visit this website. You will be able to find out a lot of vulnerabilities available in the market, a lot of payloads, different kind of exploits, different kind of vulnerabilities. After that, you may go to rapid7.com also, trend micro also. These three I will suggest. Proceeding further, let us discuss about some kind of tools available in the market for doing the vulnerability assessment. Qualys vulnerability management is a tool which will be used for doing the vulnerability assessment in organizations network. So we will not using this tool because it is used for only networks and servers. Then we have Nessus Professional and GFI Landguard. We will be having the practical of Nessus Professional. Then we have Qualys free scan, a free version of Qualys, and Nikto. Nikto we will be doing in Kali Linux practical. Is a web-based assessment tools for finding out vulnerabilities. Now, if you want to find out the vulnerabilities of a website, you can use Nikto. All these tools are available in the tools which I gave you, and this Nikto is available by default in Kali. Then we have OpenVAS, Retina CS. These two will not be having practicals because it is only meant for networks. So it is generally installed in the network and it runs continuously 24 into 7. 24 hours running continuously, 7 days, 365 days, like that. And if there is some vulnerability, it will alert the admin that there is some issues. Apart from that, if we are having this much of tools, Core Impact Pro, NetStalker, Actinityx, Sniper Studio, Nextpace, Secunia, Bob Suite, NS Auditor, Scanline, and now proceeding further, assessment reports. Assessing after doing the vulnerability assessment, preparing a report is very, very important. Why? Because whatever you did, you may not remember all these things. So writing it down and preparing a report, it's very, very important. Now, do not worry, you don't need to prepare a report by writing it using your hand. No, but you need to use some softwares using which you can prepare the reports. So we're having a lot of tools for preparing the reports. We'll look into this in the practical of vulnerability analysis. Okay. So this was it, which we did in this module. Now, anyone having any questions, you may ask right now in the live chat regarding these particular modules which we discussed, or anything else. Anyone? Anyone? Any doubt in the terms which I used? Let me know in the live chat. Active, passive. I didn't explain. What are the things I left out? It needs to be completed in the theoretical part. Okay, so ask those things only which I discussed right now. Full form of CVSS, Common Vulnerability Scoring System. Is it common or what? Like, just a second. I think it's, yes, Common Vulnerability. Okay, no, it's this Common Vulnerability Scoring System. Yes, I was correct. CVSS, Common Vulnerability Scoring System. CVSS can be reduced to critical. I'm not able to understand what question you were asking. Is it able to reduce or what? Like, it is just a scoring system. That's all. We have to create reports every time when we find bugs. Every time finding bug is not about creating report. I'm telling about penetration testing. Whenever you do something, some research over a website, after doing everything, you need to prepare a report. Not only just finding out a bug and writing it down. No, just do everything. Your objective is there. Just perform every objective you want, and at the last, when everything is done, then prepare a report. Why a hacker need to know vulnerability? Because without vulnerability, you will not be able to hack a website. After knowing the weakness of a person, you can defeat him or her. But for that, you need to know about the weakness. That's all. We need to find out the weakness of website also, and the weakness is known as vulnerability. Anything else? Anyone? Yes, you have to create detailed report. That's not necessary because everything is handled by tools nowadays. So now tools is used for preparing each and every report. Aditya Kushwaha requesting remote control of your screen. Why, Aditya? Why do you want to control my screen? CVSs can be found for the software also. Yes, yes, yes. CVSs can be found for the softwares. Look, software is a different thing. I'm talking about level of vulnerability. Okay, I think you're not able to understand. Suppose if you try to find out a vulnerability, now the vulnerability depends on different risk factors or severity level, whether it's a low level of vulnerability, high level of vulnerability, medium level of vulnerability. Now low, medium, and high does not uh, represents, like, doesn't mean like doesn't give us proper understanding of the uh, severity level of this of the vulnerability. So because of that, scoring system is there: 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, like that, pointing point system. Based on that, the severity is now defined easily. Look, everything is possible, you need to give a proper amount of time. The pending videos will be uploaded today. So this was all about the vulnerability analysis, everyone. Okay, I hope you got my point. And first of all, I want you all to wish happy Republic Day in advance. So everyone, tomorrow there will be no class. We'll be meeting again on 27th of January. Vulnerability of a service version can be upgraded. Yes, happy Republic Day, everyone. So, okay, everyone, this is it for today. On 27, we will be continuing our pending practical of vulnerability analysis. Sorry, footprinting, scanning, and enumeration. Then in the next class, practical of vulnerability analysis. Then in the next class, system hacking, and the next class, system hacking practical, like that. Well, we've not started any this thing practicals right now, so there is no task. Okay, I will be giving tasks. Don't worry, be patient. Whenever we start the system hacking modules, from that after that, a lot of assignments will be given to you all. Okay, yeah. Okay, so good night, everyone. Now you can leave the class. Thank you for your patience. Bye bye. Yes, tools are free for use forever. Okay, bye bye, everyone. Thank you for your patience.